Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. This podcast is a conversation between two business partners, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. Join us for a lively conversation about all things interior design, from current projects, trade show experiences, worldwide travel, what's in, what's out, and all the challenges and wins they've had running their successful design business. Whether you're a seasoned interior designer, new to the industry, or a creative enthusiast, you will walk away with insightful information, newfound inspiration, and a smile on your face after listening to these two. And here they are, Joanne and Kelly.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. Today we're talking about everything you wanted to know about wallpaper. So a lot of people will ask us, is wallpaper in? And oh my goodness, a resounding yes. Yes.
All day long.
Yes. It has made a huge comeback, and it is not the wallpaper of the day of the small little prints with the border. I mean, these are, large repeats, gorgeous colors, textures, so many different types. There's like such a range of options between traditional and really modern and textured. So florals really have made a comeback. Geometrics are still in. So it is something that we use probably in almost every single design that we do.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about wallpaper today and why we love it.
Yes. So before we get started, we want to tell you we have a new sponsor, and we are so excited to have Hooker Furnishings join our team. This episode is sponsored by them, and this is their 100th year in business. So we are celebrating Hooker Furnishings. They offer a wide range of products, if you're not familiar with them, including case goods, leather, fabric upholstery, outdoor furnishings, lighting, and decor for residential, hospitality, and contract markets. They really are a true whole home resource, and we have relied on them for a long time. So, they are an industry-leading import upholstery and case goods partner domestically. The company also produces premium custom leather and fabric upholstered furniture in North Carolina and also in Virginia. In addition, the company offers luxury outdoor furnishings through its outdoor division, Sunset West. So keep that in mind, as well as lighting, accessories, textiles, and decor through its recent acquisition with Bobo Intriguing Objects. So you're probably familiar with Bobo, and now it's under the Hooker umbrella. So with a variety of different price points, which we love, and product categories, Hooker Furnishings is a versatile and reliable choice for any design project. Their design support team is ready to provide a concierge experience in October for the High Point Furniture Market, and we are excited to collaborate with them. And they really help us with all of our projects. We've relied on them a lot recently for their credenzas.
Their case goods are beautiful.
Case goods are beautiful, but particularly when we're looking for credenzas and wide ones, and ones that are very, very interesting with a lot of texture and mixed materials, I turn to them all the time for that.
They're another one of those showrooms. Whenever you go to High Point, there's so many new introductions. The showrooms never look the same as last market. They always bring in new product.
And they are on the third floor of Showplace. If you go to High Point Market, it's very easy to get to them. It used to be really complicated to get to them when they were in IHFC, but now they're in Showplace and it's super easy. And so please visit them, and also online at hookerfurnishings.com.
Yay.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
So
wallpaper all day.
101.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the different types of wallpaper that there is. Okay, so there's your traditional, which I mentioned, like florals, damask, things like that. And they come in either a pasted or pre-pasted form. So the unpasted is what professionals, installers generally like. It has a more substantial backing to it, and it's more durable and less prone to tearing.
Yeah.
And then with a pasted is a little easier. You just wet it and hang it. And not a bad option, but I think the unpasted is probably considered a little bit better.
I always touch base with your installer. Our installer is easygoing. She'll do peel and stick, pre-pasted, unpasted. She doesn't care, but it definitely depends on the application.
Yeah.
It depends on residential, commercial. It depends on the paper itself. So some installers really like to use their own paste and their own pre-preparation materials. So I would just ask your installer first.
Yeah. And then vinyls, these are used a lot in commercial spaces, but also in spaces that need, good ventilation.
In humid environments, bathrooms.
Yes. High traffic areas. It's just definitely a little bit more durable, and they come in beautiful. It's not just commercial looking. They come in some beautiful patterns.
No, I think vinyls. I mean, we use vinyls a lot.
You can wipe them down.
Yeah, they're great in busy areas, and we put them in everywhere: bathrooms, mudrooms, high traffic areas, places where you need to wipe little kids' hands and
even if you don't need that application, there's no harm in getting a vinyl wallpaper.
Exactly.
So it doesn't have to be just for those those instances.
And then thirdly, one that we're really loving is more of the textured wallpapers. So they have more of a raised surface, and some of these you can put on ceilings, and they're paintable. Russ is showing a cool example of
They're
that.
They're like an embossed kind of look.
Yeah, but it's really great, especially if you have a good kind of a faux painter who can really take those and add a little bit of metallic they look good in, or something like that. But yeah,
those are good ones.
Mm-hmm. And then next, grass cloth is another. When you think of textured, you might think of grass cloth, and grass cloth comes in so many varieties now. You have the true blue grass cloth, and it's Russ is showing a picture of it that looks woven. It's very textured, but nowadays they come with patterns embossed on them. They come in metallics kind of woven in. You also have ones that are vinyl, so they're not the true, like it's not.
It looks like a grass cloth.
It doesn't feel like a woven material. It's actually vinyl, but it looks. You have to get your face up to it to see it.
The true blue grass cloths are made of like jute and hemp and seagrass. They have a texture to them. The one thing that I'll say about it is when you install a grass cloth, you can sort of see the seams. And depending on who you are, some people look at that as that's a very high-end look. And then there's other people who are kind of like, ooh, that doesn't look like it should be right. So the person has to understand that. And I would say if you're a designer, you really need to explain that to your client, show them a lot of visuals. But, when I go into, a lot of times they use these in show houses, a lot of times in the dining room, and you'll just see that look, and we don't think anything of it because we know that that's the nature of it and that's how it's supposed to look.
Yeah. But if you think about it, that it's kind of reed-like, it's kind of like that woven, and when they come together, there's no way for them to come together, and match. So you're just going to see, going to see a little seam, but it's part of the texture. It's part of the look.
Yeah. The next one, which really, I mean, it's been out for a while, the peel and stick. And I used to always kind of feel like, ooh, that's kind of like a cheapy way of doing something or whatever, but it's come such a long way. There's so many more companies, and we're using it a little bit more. I would say, I think these were designed, number one, for maybe, apartments or dorms or things where you could easily, if you're in a rental, but you really want wallpaper, I don't think your landlord would allow you to do wallpaper, but your peel and stick, you can easily just take it off. And they've come up with some really great patterns.
Oh, they're so good. We use a company a lot called Spoonflower. You've got to check them out. The patterns are endless. And we first found them when we were doing a veterinary clinic, and we wanted to do fun animal wallpaper.
There were so many,
and they're not corny. It's not cheesy. It's so adorable. And actually, they sell all three. Do they sell unpasted? I think they do. But they definitely sell pre-pasted and peel and stick. But we also are just trying a new company called Rubble Walls. There's a lot of them. I think Temper Paper was the first one that came out with that first. But we're doing a model, and there's just a single back wall, and so we're doing this kind of a huge abstract floral that's gonna really
Cover the whole wall.
cover the entire wall behind the bed. And so we don't need art, and it kind of, so budget wise, it was a good option.
Yeah, I think when you go on to Spoonflower and you, either you filter by the subject or whatever, when you go to it, you have the option to click, paste it, unpaste it, and some are peel and stick and some are not, and it's measured a little different. But we'll go into the measuring of wallpaper.
Yeah, that's a great
in
option.
a minute. But yeah,
don't stick your nose up in the air at that anymore.
Yeah, no, it's really great. Murals, we use a lot of those in commercial spaces. They are just, it's you talk about like a wow,
absolutely,
a real accent. You walk in and it's kind of like it makes the room. Russ is showing that one on the
that's the Rebel walls he's showing right now.
Wow. You can't hide that.
Yeah,
that looks so good.
Yeah, and I think the murals are they can be extremely upscale. So I think of them particularly in dining rooms. When you think of the old fashioned kind of pastoral scenes, and they're just, many times they're made of silk or they have a woven component. They look very hand painted. Yeah. They're just
like the natural scenes.
They're absolutely stunning.
And you can do custom designs with murals. Yeah. So that's another one. Like, it doesn't have to be, you can use it in a, in a residential setting. It's,
absolutely.
It's kind of cute. There's a little camping one that we did for somebody.
If you've been to Europe, you've traveled, they're everywhere. You see them. I think in America, we get used to sheetrock walls, plain walls. And then you start to travel and you're like, wow, there's like wallpapers and frescoes and Venetian plaster and texture and wood, and there's no plain walls. Yeah.
To me, like those kind of things, like when I walk into a room that has wallpaper in it, I feel like good. Like it feels like it's finished. It feels like it has personality.
Yeah.
And sheetrock walls are fine if you have beautiful art or whatever, but there's something different about wallpaper. And I think a lot of people are scared by it, don't like, the fact that, what if we get tired and have to take it down? Just do it.
Yeah. If it's done right, if it's properly put up, it's not that big of a deal to take it down. And so you get your installer to take it down and put up new wallpaper or paint over it. I've redone wallpaper.
The juice is worth the squeeze on that.
Juice is worth the squeeze.
Juice is worth the squeeze on that one.
You heard that from our last show.
So like there's so many other places that you don't think of like that you would use traditional wallpaper. Like ceilings. If sometimes people are afraid to commit, but if they have, like we do a lot in dining rooms. Russ is showing the one on the screen that we did in a dining room. It's a beautiful navy blue wall and then a textured navy. It just kind of, I don't know. It gives it a whole different look, and when people look twice at it, it's not your typical room. So I love putting wallpaper in ceilings.
Yep. And then closets or pantries, they're kind of forgotten spaces, but pantries after COVID have gotten much bigger. They're a walk-in now. They're great. And I kind of look at them like laundry rooms. They're just those spaces that, why shouldn't they be fun? Go for it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Stair risers. I think this is really, you see this a lot I guess maybe it's one of those things where someone has to be pretty bold to do this. The one that Russ is showing right now is a wallpaper, but it looks very much like a tile. But what a way to get instant personality. You don't need a lot of paper. You're just doing it on the riser. So yeah, I would Google wallpaper on stair risers. You'll see some really cool stuff that you might not have expected.
There is a lot of Etsy vendors that sell it, and you tell them exactly the height of your riser. So, underneath your tread, and then the width, and they come in pre-cut pieces. And then literally it's peel and stick, and it comes like in a thick vinyl, so it can handle the the kicking and the stepping and the durability that's needed.
Well, just a quick fun refresh.
Put it on a back staircase. Put it on your in your garage stairs if you want to try it first, or and then
it's very cool.
Yep, I love that idea.
Wallpaper on little nooks and little alcoves is so fun, and even the back of bookshelves. We've done that a lot. Even if you don't necessarily want a pattern because maybe the object you're putting on there, what you want to showcase, but to put a grass cloth behind there or a dark kind of textured will really make everything stand out. We did something one time. I think we used a navy blue wallpaper, like a textured wallpaper behind, and I think the client had a lot of white pieces, and it just was
that looks
so
great. Yeah,
it was so the contrast was beautiful, and it made everything just upped it a notch.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people have homes with an alcove or a niche that is many times they're arched, or they're in a hallway, or they're up a staircase, and you're like, what the heck am I going to do with that? The builder was trying to be really cool or do something, and if you just wallpaper the back and then just put a big ceramic something in. Yeah. And it becomes sculptural, and it's
you're done.
Great.
You're done. A lot of times people don't do anything because they don't know what to do with it. And that's a perfect spot for that.
Yeah.
All right. So to get into just a little bit of the technical aspect of it, I worked in a wallpaper store. So I learned firsthand about a lot of these things. And so I would suggest I wouldn't want to hang paper. I would, it's not super easy, but if you're a type of person that is a real do-it-yourselfer and want to do it, go for it. But there's some things you need to understand, and pattern match is one of them. So there's something called a random match. Okay, so it doesn't need to be lined up. You just hang it and you're good, and that's probably the easiest, and that would probably be what I would start with. The next one is a straight match, meaning you do have to line up where the strips so that you line them up straight. And they have to come up to the ends of the ceiling. Now, the drop match is the really tricky one. And that's what, like your installer will always ask you, what paper you're using, because they want to know the repeat and they want to know the match. So
a drop match is when the repeat, like say you have a pattern, like a big flower, and then it's not right below, it drops. It's so there's more waste with drop match patterns.
Yeah, you have to line it up both vertically and horizontally. So it's just tricky. I mean, it can be done. Yeah, but there's
a lot of drop matches and wallpaper. It's no big deal. It's just you have to know. And whenever you're figuring out yardage, you've got to, the very first thing that your installer will ask you is, what is the repeat, or what is the drop? What are the specifics of that pattern?
Yeah. So calculating wallpaper. Once again, if you're not doing it, I would say have your installer come and tell you, because, for example, if you have an 8-foot ceiling, you're going to get 3 drops out of a double roll. If you have a 9-foot ceiling, you don't. So you immediately have waste there. So there is a lot of waste involved. And then also depending, like Kelly said, on that repeat, like you could lose, you could just lose a lot of it. So you want to make sure that you're measuring correctly. And just you want to measure the width and height of your walls in inches, then divide that by 144. That'll give you the square footage. So square footage of usable space. So that's just the basics, but you have to make sure you order the right amount, because there's die lots that come into play, and we'll talk about that in a minute too.
Yes. So the way wallpaper is packaged is a little confusing a little bit. Just here's a little education for you. So wallpaper is packaged in double rolls, but it is priced generally by single rolls. So just a little FYI there. Sometimes wallpaper is priced by the square foot. It just depends. The more custom you go, the more it's probably by square foot. But the general most of the wallpaper that we order is sold by the single roll price-wise, but packaged in double rolls. So but you always need extra. So it's okay.
And
you always need extra.
The higher end will sometimes be in yards.
Yes. Oh, yards. I'm sorry. I said square footage, but
so when you're order in, you're going to order by a pattern and you're going to have a run number, which is really your die lot. So let's just say you're doing a small bathroom and it takes 4 double rolls, 6 double rolls. And for some reason, they just didn't have enough. There was so much waste and cutting and they needed another roll. So you want to make sure that you order that same die lot or that same run because the dies
Colors
could be a little different. Yep. Everything could be a little different. So, getting it right the first time is very important because you can really mess it up if you don't have enough.
Yep.
And then
price of wallpaper?
Yes.
It really varies. It can be anywhere from $25 to $50 per single roll, or high end is 50, 150, even more than that. And then, of course, like we said, you get into the per yards, and you get into the more custom pieces, especially when you're doing murals. And that's a whole nother ball of wax. Peel and stick is generally your more affordable. We didn't mention this, but peel and stick for kids' rooms all day long.
Oh yeah,
so fun. We had a little girl's room that we weren't doing her room. Her mom. We were doing wallpaper in 3 bathrooms, but she was like, "I've got this peel and stick mural. Can your installer come and do this?" And we were like, "Sure." And it was this rainbow that
so cute.
Literally took up the entire wall, and it was like watercolored, and it was kind of faint. It was so pretty. It wasn't tacky at all. I just loved it.
Yeah, it was really cute. And she'll grow out of it, and then you just take it down. So peel and sticks are about 30 to 60 a roll. And I will say, I know Spoonflower, like their measuring system is completely different.
Yeah,
they do it in strips. So a
drops.
2 foot by 9 foot strip will cost you this and all that. Just
very easy to measure though, and they have a calculator on their website, so that helps.
Yeah, and then installation. It's kind of all over the place. Some charge by the roll, some charge by the square footage, some will charge by the room, but generally $2 to $7 a square foot for traditional paper, and then some charge by the hour. So it just all kind of depends. There's a lot of different things that go into it. So
I value a professional wallpaper installer all day long, especially if you've got lots of windows, lots of nooks and crannies, lots of getting those things matched up, and
the one thing that I think is interesting too is that you have to really look at different rooms. Sometimes when you look at these patterns and you might see them in a small area, you want to look to see what that repeat is. And we generally like the repeats that are a little bigger. You don't want to keep seeing the same thing over. Then it tends to look busy. And I think a lot of people think sometimes wallpaper is busy. But if you look at it in a big piece, order samples, get them home. I think if you maybe start in, I think powder rooms are like
the most perfect place.
My favorite place to put paper, or laundry rooms. And I think once you get used to it, you might really decide that you really do like wallpaper, and don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. I think people are afraid of the finality of it. Yeah. Like, oh my God, I'm going to get this up. But I just feel like if you love something, you're probably going to love it for a while. And I don't think it's any different from if you hang a piece of art up instead, and let's just say in a small space, how often do you change that art? It's no different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how often do you paint?
Yeah.
Probably not that often. So go for it. I mean, you might as well have the wow. I think if something is done really well, it has staying power.
And color is back. The all white room is just too sterile now. I mean, we loved it when it was there.
Yeah.
But now, like, infusing some personality and some color, I think it gives rooms some life.
Yeah.
It really does.
It gives us life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of our favorite brands, if you want to Google them or look around or call us, we're dealers for all these, and we can order you the paper. Tebow, Design, and you spell that Thibaut. They've been a sponsor on our show before. We use them, oh my gosh, probably 80% of the time.
Yeah.
We just love their stuff.
Their designs, their colors,
their price point.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful
stuff. F. Schumacher, top of the line, the coolest patterns and really unique. Very, very well done. Very elegant, very, very luxury. York is another brand that's good price point, that's got some interesting, more, they've got a lot of more traditional stuff as well, if you want to lean that way. Seabrook Designs.
Yeah, these companies have been around for so long.
Yep. We're forgetting the one that we did. Oh my gosh. In Dale's bathroom with the nail
Philip
heads.
Jeffries.
Philip Jeffries. Oh, so stunning. I mean,
yeah.
Top of the line. I would, if you want something really, really special.
Mm-hmm.
And then for peel and stick, Spoonflower, like we said, Wallism, Rebel Walls. There's so many.
There's a lot of
them. Just start Googling them. They're out there more than ever. I keep seeing them pop up on Instagram because they've got the coolest patterns and stuff. So
yeah.
And same for murals.
Yeah. Rebel Walls. Walls Republic.
Yes,
Look
Walls we've used a lot.
You'll see a lot of look walls in our commercial properties that have really just, it just makes the space.
Yeah.
It really does.
And what they do is they digitally print it for the measurement that we've given them. Yeah. So if the wall is 25 feet wide by 12 feet high, the image that we have chosen is digitally made to scale that wall. So it's completely awesome.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like people need to step out because I don't know many clients that say to us, okay, I'd like to wallpaper this.
Yeah.
We usually have to suggest it. And then there's a little hesitation, but then there's a little bit of excitement.
Yes. A little bit of fear. Yeah. That they trust us. So they go for it.
And then once we had one client who really wasn't for it. And so we're doing a, kind of a mudroom pantry area. And so we're doing,
tongue and groove.
A tongue and groove 3/4 of the way up. And so she agreed, to do some wallpaper up at the top. But that is even so great looking.
It's going to be amazing. We're doing this rosemary green, built-in whole entire wall of cabinets for this mudroom. And then she's going to have a brick floor in a herringbone pattern. She's got this kind of I think we got it from Rejuvenation, or I can't remember where we got the fixture. It's very vintage, schoolhouse looking. And then she'll have the tongue and groove 3/4 of the way up on the other side, opposite the cabinets. And then it's kind of a floral.
It's more leaves.
It's more like
leafy.
It almost looks like herbs. It's like olive greens and okra and this linen color. Oh my God, I can't wait to photograph that. I'm so excited. But we were like, please, Lynn, just a little.
And I think about it. I think about this room. If she had done everything, which is going to be very cool, but the top would have just been drywall, would have been so flat. This is where you walk in and you go, wow. That's what I think what wallpaper does.
Yeah.
I think you walk in and
it's the piece de resistance.
You're like, wow. The things you're afraid of are usually the best things to do.
So there you go. That was a very quick Wallpaper 101, but you can always reach out to us if you have questions, or if we didn't cover something, just reach out to us.
Yes. Okay, so funny and serious. I mean, they're really funny and really serious today.
Yes.
So the funny quote is, and I remember this when I first started working at Decorating Mart, which is a store, I worked in the wallpaper section, and there was always this joke about couples hanging wallpaper together. So this one is, hanging wallpaper as a couple is the ultimate relationship test. If you can survive that, you can survive anything. And I think it's very true.
I wouldn't even attempt it with my husband.
It's hard. It's hard work.
Yeah. Okay. So our serious quote is in memory of a very, very good friend of ours. If you're in the industry, I'm sure you heard the news a few weeks ago that Tracy Zeller passed away very suddenly and unexpectedly. She was a good friend. She was the most amazing designer based out of Charlotte. She was funny. She was so beautifully fashion forward. And her death has really, really rocked our world. And so this quote is in honor of her. The death of a young person is like a star that fades too soon, leaving behind a sky forever dimmed by its absence. The world is left to wonder what brilliance might have been, while the heart struggles to comprehend a loss so profound, so untimely, that it defies all reason. And that's how we feel about Tracy. She was amazing. So really super sad to have her gone. But we want to send love to her husband, Mike, and her boys, Henry and Charlie, and peace for her family. Yeah. So a couple announcements. High Point Insiders Tour.
Sure. Yep. Saturday, October 26th from 8:30 to 6. A fun-filled day, going to showrooms, meeting some sales reps, navigating High Point if you've never been there before, if you've only been or you haven't been in the last couple of markets. It's truly the most overwhelming place. And it's so nice to be able that they have come up with this program for designers who are seasoned and have been there many times to kind of take you around and show you the ropes. It's totally free. It's
Saturday, October 26th from 8:30 to 6.
And you need to apply.
Yes. Yep.
Go onto the, it's highpointmarket.org/insiders tour. There's an application to apply, and the deadline to apply is October 16th. We only have 15 spots and more than half of them are taken. So
if you get to ours and it happens to be full, of course we want you on our tour, but if it's full, all the tour guides are completely amazing, and we're all friends. So please jump on any other tour because you will have the best time, and they're all super great.
Yeah. And if you're curious about, the High Point Market website has great information about where to stay, any kind of travel information, or if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to us and we'll kind of
The deadline is October 16th.
Yeah.
At 5 p.m. to register.
Yeah.
So totally do that now. You can be waitlisted, but I would register now above all.
Yes.
So So thanks again to Russ Reba of Podcast Studio Network and Gail Mahoney of Gail Mahoney Branding and Marketing for helping us make this podcast happen.
Yes.
We really love you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly for a new episode every other Friday as they continue to explore the nuances of the interior design business with the goal of informing, inspiring, and entertaining their listeners. See their work at kandrak-cole.com and engage with them on Facebook and Instagram at Kandrak Cole.